Chapter 3. Katyusha entered her new room. It was nothing like the one she had back in the day, before the Civil War, but it was better than the one she had been given in holding. She walked into the bed given to her and felt it. It was almost as soft as the bed back at the palace. Memories of the past rushed into Katyusha's mind. "Nona, what are we going to do?" she asked her friend as she cowered in her arms. The pounding on the doors to the palace rang through the halls. "It's all right, Katyusha. Everything will be fine," she whispered. Nona placed her necklace around Katyusha and gave her head a kiss. "No matter what comes of this, know always that I love you," she whispered. Katyusha closed her eyes. "That was so long ago now," Katyusha whispered to herself. She pulled the necklace that Nona had given her out of her shirt. It was one of the few things that she had managed to hide while locked up. She had managed to keep it tucked away, hidden, though always near to her. Katyusha felt tears well up in her eyes as she thought about Nona. "She tried to defend me there at the courthouse. But what happened to her afterwards? Is she okay?" Katyusha paced the room, worried that her friend might have been hurt in some way. I have to get her," she announced to herself. Katyusha looked around the room and spotted a window. She pushed it open and saw that there was a clear path out from the room and into the lawn. From there, perhaps she could run to the gate and just follow the path that they took all the way back to the town that she was in. But then what? She knew she would be hunted there. The whole country hated her. At least, that's how it seemed. Katyusha slumped against her bed and cried. Each tear drew with it several choked breaths from her. She had nobody. She was alone. In a moment like this, the only one who could comfort her was Nona. Nona, her longest friend. The one who had always been there for her. Katyusha's tears rolled down her cheeks and into the sleeves of her coat. She buried her face between her knees and tried not to be too loud with her cries, but the longer that she went on without comfort, the more she missed Nona, and the more she cried. Vanya stood outside of Katyusha's room and listened to her sobbing. Perhaps she's thinking about what she's done," he muttered. He doubted it, for he knew that Katyusha was a long ways away from change. Vanya entered his study and sat down and lit himself a cigar. Even after all the time that he had gone without smoking, he was still able to draw a long puff of smoke, not minding the bitterness. He'd stopped smoking since the end of the war, but now he was fine with indulging himself a little bit. He looked at the picture on his desk and smiled. Vanya made sure to brush some of the dust from the glass and gazed at the woman standing beside him in the picture. "Verny, my love," he said, picking up the picture. He kissed it and set down the picture before closing his eyes. How can I handle this? What the hell can I even do to help Katyusha? He asked himself. It was such a stupid decision. But there was no turning back at this point. It all seemed like it would work out fine until the moment that it happened. He would just have to work things out until he would be able to talk to her. Vanya let out a sigh and began his meditation. Just then there was a knock at the door. Vanya opened his eyes again and hesitated until once more there was a knock. "Come in," he announced. Katyusha walked in with red eyes, though she tried her best to hide the fact that she had been crying. Do you have any spare clothes?" she asked. Vanya sighed. "Yes, there are some clothes in the drawers in the room. And feel free to bathe yourself if you wish to. I'm sure it's been a long time since you've had the chance." Katyusha was unsure of what to say other than, "Thank you," as she readied to leave him. "Wait," ordered Vanya. Vanya rose from his seat and walked to Katyusha, placing his hands on her shoulders. Katyusha was easily a foot shorter than him from where he stood, and as he stared at her, she became unsettled. "Is there something you want?" she asked, her eyes averting his. Vanya studied her eyes before replying. "It's nothing. It can wait. Go take care of what you need to. Katyusha left him, and he walked over to the mirror that sat upon the wall left of the fireplace. He looked into it and steadied his own eyes. Vanya gripped the table he held on to. His comrades, his neighbors, his own flesh and blood. The war had cost him so much. Just about everything. Vanya almost wished to go back on his word, to let Katyusha die so she would not suffer the same fate he did, so that neither his path nor that which the town would set for her should damn her. But no matter the path that she went down, even death, damnation was certain. The question was, should one avoid it now on earth to face it eternally, or should one accept it now and be forgiven? Vanya collapsed by the table and whispered, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." She knows not what she has done. But when she learns it, how it will pain her. Vanya almost wished to cower in pain as he thought of his past, but he glanced at the picture and said to himself, "Don't let her death be in vain. Virni, I shall see you someday. Until then, I swear to do my best for you. You always saw the best in people, even me." Vanya crawled to his desk and drank. He drank until the night had become morning, and then he went to bed to sleep. Not even bothering to remove his pants, he closed his eyes and had his restless sleep for the night. Katyusha, too, was unable to sleep. She held the necklace given to her by Nona and caressed it. She was surprised to find a nightgown not unlike the one that she used to wear at the palace in Pravda. But it wasn't the same. The one she wore was a gift from Nona, and this one was a gift from a man that she did not know. But then again, perhaps it showed some form of benevolence from him. Katyusha didn't really know. It was late when at last she closed her eyes, and only in her deeply tired state could she get any rest.